Well, I heard recently about how Chick-fil-A has leased some of the space at Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the Atlanta Falcons play. And the irony is that football is a Sunday sport, and Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays. So as I saw it, 7 out of the 8 regular season home games for the Atlanta Falcons, the Chick-fil-A is going to be closed. People are going to be hungry, they're going to walk by, and the little garage door for Chick-fil-A is going to be closed. Well, say what you will about Chick-fil-A, but you can't say that they're not principled, that they're not guided by a set of core beliefs or values that will guide them for the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, 200 years, or as long as Chick-fil-A is in existence. And, chiropractic has an interesting history as well. And I think it's a good idea to brush up on our history a little bit and why we do what we do. And in 1925, a person by the name of Stevenson, he was a chiropractor, he introduced this set of principles to the profession and was widely accepted. Published in a book, chiropractic textbook, in about 1925. And I want to share them with you right now. Bear with me, they're some of them are kind of difficult to understand, but I think it'll make sense in the end. First of all, there's 33 of them. First of all, there's a major premise. The major premise says that there's universal intelligence all over the place. There's signs of design, basically. There's a purpose to everything. The next principle says that the chiropractic meaning of life is the expression of intelligence through matter. Or matter. It doesn't matter what the matter is at this point. The next one. There's a union between intelligence and matter, and that is force. The next principle, there is a triunity. Life is a triunity, namely intelligence, force, and matter. The next principle says that there's perfection within that triunity. As long as that thing, especially eventually the human being, as we're getting up here in these principles, as long as that force is in existence, that person is said to be alive. Okay? Now, the next principle, number 6, says that all processes require time. Action, action, action. Things must happen in a sequence, in an order of events. The next principle says that the amount of intelligence within matter, within a given piece of matter, object, is always 100%. The function of intelligence is to express force. The amount of force within an object is always 100%. The function of force is to express intelligence. All right, we're going somewhere, bear with me. The next principle says that there's this thing called universal forces. Gravity is a good example. The next principle says that I can interfere with universal forces or natural law. The next one talks about the function or the purpose of matter, the physical object, The next one talks about universal life. The next principle says that all movement was preceded by force. Force causes movement. There's a force into me throwing the baseball, for example. The next principle says that there's life in that there's motion. There's life in all living and non-living things. We now understand that the difference between this drill and this wrench, is there's atoms here, molecules, and they're vibrating at a different frequency, and somehow they do not combine. They have solicitude. They stay within their own boundaries. So there's a certain, in that definition, there's life within both of them. Those molecules have movement, and there's a certain type of a life. The next principle says that evidence of life, now of living things, the evidences of life mean that the thing, the animal, the person is actually alive. The ability to take in food, the ability to adapt to changes in the environment, to get rid of food, and to excrete all the different bodily functions. The next one says that for every cause there's an effect, for every effect there's a cause. The next one says that there's this thing called organic matter or organized matter. And then higher up from there is innate intelligence. Now we're finally getting to animals/humans. Now, the mission of innate intelligence, innate, unlike the universal intelligence, which separates me from that wall, obviously a different type of a, being and a vibration and everything, which everything eventually comes back to the differentiation of the vibration of the megahertz that are basically coming off of me. Okay, that's quantum physics. Newtonian physics again says, well, we can explain everything about this drill based on it's plastic and it's shaped like this and has the rubber thing right there and it's got the metal right here. Quantum physics, remember, talks even before that in the vibrations that actually cause the metal part to be metal and the plastic part to be plastic. Now, where are we at? The mission of innate intelligence. The mission of innate intelligence, and then the amount of innate intelligence is always 100%. Does this sound familiar? The function of innate intelligence, limitations of adaptation, the normalcy of innate intelligence, character of innate forces, and how they'll never be destructive to the body. And by the way, there's this thing called autoimmune diseases. I don't think the body ever really attacks itself. It might seem like it's attacking itself, and we have medicine has labeled that as we don't understand it, so we call it autoimmune, but I think they'll come up with a different word for that eventually. But innate does not attack itself. Innate is always constructive, which is the next principle. Innate is always constructive, but universal, external forces are always destructive. Okay, so it's this tug of war that all of us endure, okay, until our last breath in order to maintain our health. It's like Star Wars, the Force versus the dark side, all right? The next one says that there are conductors of innate intelligence, that being the nerve system, of course. There is a cause of disease. There is this thing called a subluxation. We're at principle number 30 now. And then, 31, and now 32 says there's a principle of coordination and how stuff is supposed to work as it should, according to design. And then finally, number 3 is the law of demand and supply. Whereas innate is the virtuous clearinghouse or the banker. The clerks are the brain cells or the nerve cells. And then the tellers are as if the other cells of the body, answering ultimately to that highest innate. And innate obviously is part of the universal. Okay? Now, I know that's kind of maybe some far out ideas. There are explanations to all these, so don't be freaked out. Hopefully that maybe gives you a better grasp or appreciation of chiropractic and just kind of where healthcare, hopefully, will be going towards. Power to the person, power to the individual. You got to know a little bit about a lot in order to make the best decisions for yourself and your family. So there you have it, the 33 principles of chiropractic. Basically, there's a universal intelligence. You boil all that stuff down, you deductively reason it. If any one of these parts is false, the whole thing just totally shatters. None of it works. Universal intelligence, eventually innate intelligence within that human life form. There can be interference. Get rid of the interference and let your body, your body's own resilience get you back to and keep you as healthy as possible. Thank you very much.